The latte hit him square in the chest. Expensive suit, silk tie, and Talia watched in horror as the scalding liquid spread across his torso while he was mid-sentence on his phone. Speaking rapid Korean she barely understood except for the words that sounded like threats. She couldn't breathe. Her hands were shaking so badly the empty cup clattered to the pavement, and she knew this was it. The final disaster in a week of disasters. Yesterday, her landlord had taped an eviction notice to her door. This morning, the clinic had called about the bill she couldn't pay. And now she'd just assaulted what was clearly a very important, very dangerous man in the middle of Incheon's busiest street. I'm so sorry. The words tumbled out in English first, then her broken Korean. Jong Mao Mayan Hamnida. Please, I'll pay for dry cleaning aisle. He ended his call with a single sharp word and looked down at her. Talia's vision blurred with tears she refused to let fall. She was already on her knees, grabbing napkins from her cart, trying to wipe his suit jacket even though she knew it was ruined. $700, maybe $1,000. Money she'd never see in a month of double shifts. Money that would put her on the street for good. I can give you everything in my register, she said, her voice cracking. It's only 80,001 but it's all I have, I swear. Stop. The word was quiet but absolute. She froze, napkins clutched in her fists, still on her knees on the dirty sidewalk. Around them, the morning rush continued. Businessmen with briefcases, students with backpacks, everyone pretending not to stare at the foreign girl who just destroyed her own life. Stand up. She did, legs trembling. When she finally looked at his face, she expected rage. Violence even. The kind she'd seen before back home, in eyes that had taught her to flinch. Instead she found something that made no sense. He was looking at her like he was seeing something fragile. Something precious he was afraid might break. Are you hurt? He asked, and his Korean was crisp but the concern in it was unmistakable. What? Your hand. Did you burn it? She glanced down stupidly at her reddened palm where the hot cup had seared her skin. She hadn't even registered the pain until he pointed it out. It's fine, she managed. Sir, please let me make this right. I can. You're shaking. I'm sorry. Stop apologizing. He pulled off his ruined jacket, revealing a white shirt also stained with coffee. Then he did something impossible. He draped the jacket around her shoulders. You're cold. Talia stood frozen in shock. The jacket was warm from his body, smelled like expensive cologne and coffee. Probably cost more than everything she owned. I don't understand, she whispered. He studied her face for a long moment. Free refill. It was her own line, the one she used on her handful of regular customers, delivered with a small smile she'd perfected to earn tips. She'd said it just seconds before disaster struck. On me, he added, and the ghost of something that might have been amusement touched his eyes. She couldn't process this. Couldn't understand why he wasn't screaming, calling the police, having her arrested for assault. The coffee wasn't bad enough the first time. The joke came out strangled, but it came out. This time he almost smiled. The coffee is terrible. Then why? Why do I keep coming back? He glanced at his watch. She caught a flash of the brand name, the kind of watch she'd only seen in window displays. I've been wondering that myself. Keep coming back. She'd been working this corner for 3 months and she'd never. But wait. The man in the black car who parked across the street some mornings. Who watched her cart while pretending to be on his phone. Who always drove away before she could make out his face. The realization must have shown on her face because something shifted in his expression. How much is rent? He asked abruptly. What? Your eviction notice. How much do you owe? The tears she'd been fighting finally spilled over. How do you? Kim Do-hyun. He said it like a title, not a name. And you're Talia Brooks. You work doubles here and at the 24-hour cafe on Namsan Street. You send money to your mother in Atlanta every month even though you can barely feed yourself. You're 3 months behind on rent and your work visa expires in 47 days. The world tilted sideways. You've been watching me. It came out flat, emotionless, because her brain couldn't process what emotion to attach to this. Yes. Why? His phone buzzed insistently. He silenced it without looking. That requires a longer conversation than we have time for. Right now you need to. A black sedan pulled up to the curb so smoothly it might have materialized. The back door opened. Get in, Do-hyun said. Every survival instinct Talia had developed in 27 years of hard living screamed at her to run. Rich men who stalked vulnerable women didn't have good intentions. Men who knew everything about you were dangerous. Men who spoke like they owned the world usually did, and they liked to own people too. But then a motorcycle roared past, and the rider looked back at her with eyes she recognized from 3 days ago. The man who'd followed her home from her night shift. Who'd stood outside her building until sunrise, smoking cigarettes and watching her window. Do-hyun saw her face change. You've noticed him. He's been, her throat closed. Following you. Yes. Do-hyun's voice went cold. He works for someone who wants to use you to get to me. I don't even know you. You do now. He gestured to the car. And that means you're in danger. So get in, or I leave you here and they take you instead. She could see the motorcycle circling back. Talia got in the car. Before we continue, if this story's got you hooked already, comment where you're from and subscribe. Now back to Talia. The car door shut with a solid final sound. Do-hyun slid in beside her and said something in Korean to the driver. A mountain of a man who nodded once and pulled into traffic like they owned the road. They probably did. I need to call the police, Talia said. Her voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. Someone who wasn't sitting in a stranger's car wearing his coffee-stained jacket. No. I'm being stalked. By a man named Young Min-suk, who works for the Jopuk. At her blank look he added, Korean organized crime. He was sent to identify people I care about. Weaknesses. Leverage. The word care hung in the air between them. You don't know me, she repeated, but it sounded weak even to her own ears. I know you take your grandmother's recipe for peach cobbler to Mrs. Kim on the 4th floor every Sunday because she's lonely. I know you cry in the supply closet at your night job when you think no one's listening. I know you bought a plane ticket home twice and canceled it twice because you won't give up on your dream even though it's killing you. His eyes were dark, intense. I know you deserve better than that. Talia's hands were shaking again. You're insane. Probably. I want out of this car. Where will you go? Your apartment. Min-suk knows where you live. Back to your cart. He'll be waiting. Do-hyun leaned back, eerily calm. You spilled coffee on me 40 minutes ago. Your life has been in danger for 3 days. Which crisis would you like to deal with first? She couldn't think. The car smelled like leather and something expensive she couldn't name. Through the tinted windows, Incheon blurred past. Her city, her precarious existence, suddenly foreign. Why do you care? She whispered. I don't know yet. He said it like it bothered him, this not knowing. But I do. Her phone buzzed. Text from her landlord. Final warning. Out by Friday or I remove belongings. It was Wednesday. I can't, her breath caught. I don't have anywhere to go. Yes, you do. She looked at him, this stranger who knew everything, who'd been watching her, who spoke about danger like it was weather. I have an apartment in Songdo. 3 bedrooms, full security. You'll stay there. I can't. It's not a request. The way he said it, flat, absolute, sent ice down her spine. And if I refuse? You won't. He pulled out his phone, typed something. I'm transferring money to your account for the rent you owe. Consider it payment for the coffee I've been drinking for 3 months. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was her banking app. The number made her dizzy. 5 million won. Nearly $5,000. That's insane, she breathed. That's Wednesday. He was already making another call. Rapid Korean she couldn't follow. When he hung up, my driver will collect your belongings from your apartment. Make a list of everything you need. I can't just. The car stopped. Talia looked out and realized they were at the port, at a building she'd passed 100 times and never really seen. The driver opened her door. "Wait here," Do-hyun said and got out. She watched through the window as he approached two men standing by a loading dock. The conversation was brief. One man gestured angrily. Do-hyun said something quiet. The man went pale and walked away. When Do-hyun returned, there was blood on his knuckles. Talia pressed herself against the opposite door. "What did you do?" "Removed a problem." He wiped his hand with a handkerchief like it was nothing. "Min-suk won't follow you anymore." "Did you kill him?" "No." He looked almost offended. "I don't kill over small things." "Then what's a big thing?" His eyes met hers, and something in them made her breath stop. "You!" The word sat between them, impossible and terrifying and somehow true. "I need to get out," she said. "We're not done. I didn't agree to any of this. You got in the car. That was agreement enough." But his voice softened slightly. "You're safe now. That's what matters." "I don't feel safe. I feel kidnapped." "I'm not kidnapping you. I'm protecting you." "From what?" "Your enemies." "Because that's..." Her phone rang. Unknown number. "Don't answer it," Do-hyun said sharply. Some stubborn part of her that refused to be controlled answered it anyway. Talia Brooks. A woman's voice, Korean accented English. "I'm calling from Incheon Medical Center. We need to discuss your recent visit and..." Do-hyun took the phone from her hand and ended the call. "Hey! They're not from the hospital." "How do you?" "Because I own the security company that monitors their calls. That number is registered to a disposable phone purchased yesterday in Bupyeong." He handed her phone back. "They're trying to confirm your location." The fear that had been bubbling beneath everything finally broke through. Talia's hands went to her stomach, protective, instinctive. Do-hyun noticed. His eyes dropped to where her hands rested, then back to her face. "What aren't you telling me?" he asked quietly. "Everything." She was hiding everything. The real reason she needed money. The appointment she'd missed. The truth that made her more vulnerable than he could possibly know. "Nothing," she lied. He studied her with those two knowing eyes. Then, "You're a terrible liar. And you're a stalker who..." The driver's window shattered. Talia screamed as hands reached through, trying to unlock the door. The driver was already moving, throwing the car into reverse, but there were more men now, 3-4 surrounding them. Do-hyun grabbed her, pulling her down as something metal flashed in the sunlight. A knife. "Stay down," he ordered, his body covering hers. She heard shouting in Korean, the thud of fists on metal. The car lurched forward, tires squealing. More glass breaking. The driver was yelling into a radio, sharp commands that meant nothing to her. Do-hyun's heart pounded against her back. His breath was steady even though the world was ending. "Don't look up," he said into her ear. "Don't move." She wasn't capable of either. The car accelerated hard enough to throw them against the seats. The men fell away, their shouts fading. But Talia couldn't stop shaking, couldn't breathe, couldn't process that someone had just tried to. "They wanted me," Do-hyun said, still holding her. "But they would have taken you to get to me. I want to go home." "You don't have a home." "Not anymore. Not until this is finished." She twisted to look at him, tears streaming down her face. "What did you do? What are you involved in that?" "Everything." The word was bitter. "I'm involved in everything. And now, unfortunately, so are you." The car turned sharply, throwing them together. Through the broken window, she could see they were heading into territory she didn't recognize. Away from the port. Away from her cart, her jobs, her carefully constructed survival. Away from everything. "Where are we going?" Her voice cracked. Do-hyun's hand came up, brushing hair from her face with surprising gentleness. His knuckles were still bloody. "Somewhere they can't reach you. And then, he said softly, "you stay alive long enough for me to figure out why you matter so much." Talia closed her eyes. She'd woken up that morning worried about rent and an unpaid medical bill. Now she was running from people who wanted to use her as leverage against a man she didn't know, protected by that same man, hurtling toward an unknown destination in a car with shattered windows. And the worst part, the absolutely terrifying part, was that when Do-hyun held her, she felt safer than she had in years. The apartment was a glass tower in Songdo, the kind Talia had only ever seen from the outside. 50 floors up, with a view that stretched to the ocean. She stood in the middle of the living room. Marble floors, furniture that looked like art, floor-to-ceiling windows showing a city she'd lived in but never really seen from this height, and felt like she'd stepped into someone else's life. The master bedroom is there. Do-hyun gestured down a hallway. Ensuite bathroom. Everything you need. This is where you live. One of the places. He was on his phone again, that permanent state of being that seemed to define him. My assistant is bringing clothes. She'll get your sizes right. You have an assistant who knows women's clothing sizes? I have an assistant who can find out anything in under 10 minutes. He glanced up. You need to eat something. I'm not hungry. You're shaking. That's adrenaline crash or low blood sugar. Probably both. He moved to the kitchen, an expanse of stainless steel and granite that probably cost more than everything Talia had earned in her entire life, and started opening cabinets. I don't actually cook, so this might be. Why are you doing this? The question burst out of her. You don't know me. I spilled coffee on you. That's it. That's the extent of our relationship. So why? I've been watching you for 3 months. He said it calmly like it was reasonable. You think I don't know you? Watching someone doesn't mean you know them. I know you pretend to be stronger than you are. I know you're terrified right now, but you're more angry than scared, which means you're a survivor. He found bread, started making what looked like it might become a sandwich. I know you don't trust easily and you shouldn't trust me, but you're going to anyway because you don't have a choice. I always have a choice. Do you? He looked at her. Your visa expires in 47 days. You have $300 in your bank account, now 5 million won, but $300 before I transferred the money. You owe the hospital $11,000 for a visit you haven't. Explained. Your mother's nursing home costs are $2,000 a month and you're already 3 weeks behind. You work 80 hours a week and you're still drowning. His voice was clinical, detached, devastating. So tell me, what choice were you going to make that ended with you safe and solvent? The sandwich sat on the counter between them, forgotten. You're a monster, Talia whispered. Yes, he said it easily. But I'm a monster who's going to keep you alive. Her phone buzzed. Another text from the landlord, this one angrier. Then a call from a number she didn't recognize. Then another text. Do-hyun took the phone from her hand. She was too numb to stop him and turned it off. They can't reach you here, he said. No one can. This building has security protocols that governments would envy. The elevators won't stop on this floor without biometric authorization. The windows are bulletproof. You're safe. I'm a prisoner. You're protected. He pushed the sandwich toward her. There's a difference. She wanted to throw it at him. Wanted to scream, break something, run. But her knees were weak and her head was spinning and the sandwich smelled good and she hadn't eaten since. When had she last eaten? Talia picked up the sandwich with shaking hands and took a bite. Do-hyun watched her like it mattered, like her eating was some kind of victory. Why me? She asked finally. You're rich, powerful, clearly involved in things I don't want to know about. You could have anyone. Why are you obsessed with the broke barista who makes terrible coffee? He was quiet for a long time. Long enough that she'd finished half the sandwich and her hands had stopped shaking quite so badly. I don't know, he admitted finally. I saw you 3 months ago. You were crying on the sidewalk because your cart had a flat tire and you couldn't afford to fix it. Some asshole businessman walked past and kicked it, made it worse. And you? He paused. You just sat there in the rain and laughed. Like it was funny. Like the universe trying to crush you was the best joke you'd ever heard. Talia remembered that day. Remembered thinking she couldn't possibly sink lower. Tire. The rain. That man in his expensive suit who'd sneered at her like she was trash. I had someone fix your tire that night, Do-hyun continued. Told myself that was it. One good deed. But then I saw you the next morning and you were thanking everyone who bought coffee like they'd saved your life. Making jokes in broken Korean. Smiling at strangers who didn't smile back. He looked at her. You made terrible coffee and you were barely surviving and you were still trying to make other people's day better. I'd never seen anyone do that before. Something in Talia's chest cracked open. That's just. I know. It's not special. It's not unique. But it was. He struggled for the word. Real. You were real. Everything in my life is calculated, strategic, bought or sold or manipulated. But you were just there. Being kind because you wanted to be. Not because it benefited you. That's a terrible reason to stalk someone, she managed. I know. He almost smiled. I'm working on my conversation starter skills. Despite everything, the fear, the confusion, the impossibility of this entire day, Talia felt a laugh bubble up. It came out strangled and slightly hysterical, but it was a laugh. You're insane, she said again. That seems to be the consensus. He leaned against the counter, and for the first time since she'd spilled that latte, he looked almost tired. Human. For what it's worth, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I was going to keep watching from a distance. Make sure you were safe. That's all. Then what changed? His jaw tightened. Min-suk took a photo of you yesterday. Sent it to his boss. They identified you as someone I'd been watching, which made you valuable. Made you a target. He looked away. This is my fault. So you're what? Protecting me from the consequences of your stalking? Yes. At least he was honest. Talia finished the sandwich. Her stomach hurt from eating too fast after too long without food, but the dizziness was fading. She could think again. Process. I need my stuff from my apartment, she said. My clothes. My grandmother's recipe book. She stopped. She'd almost said the ultrasound pictures. The one she'd hidden in the bottom of her suitcase. The physical proof of the secret she'd been carrying for 12 weeks now. My driver is already there with your landlord, Do-hyun said. He'll get everything. Just make a list of. No. Talia stood. I need to go. There's something I have to get myself. Not happening. You don't own me. I'm keeping you alive. That trumps ownership. His phone buzzed again. He glanced at it and his expression hardened. We have a problem. Another one. Your work visa. My people just checked the immigration system. There's a flag on your name. The room tilted again. What kind of flag? The kind that means someone with access to government databases is tracking you. They'll know the minute you try to leave the country. I'm not trying to leave the country. But you were thinking about it. He looked at her with those two knowing eyes. The plane tickets you bought and cancelled. You were planning to run home. She had been. Before she'd found out about. Her hand went to her stomach again, that unconscious protective gesture. Do-hyun's eyes followed the movement. How far along? He asked quietly. The world stopped. Talia's mouth opened but no sound came out. He couldn't possibly. I don't. 3 months. His voice was gentle now, devastating in its certainty. That's why you went to the hospital. That's why you owe $11,000. That's why you've been even more desperate than usual. Tears blurred her vision. How? The hospital bill was itemized in the records my assistant pulled. Prenatal care. First trimester screening. He took a step toward her. You're pregnant. Loan. Running out of money and time and options. And I just made everything worse by dragging you into my world. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Couldn't. Who's the father? No one. The answer came automatically. He doesn't know. He won't know. It's just me. Just you. Just me. She wiped her eyes furiously. I can handle it. I've been handling it. I don't need. You need everything. He was close now, too close. You need money for medical care. You need a place to live. You need a visa so you don't get deported. You need to not be working 80 hours a week carrying coffee and standing on your feet until you collapse. His hand came up, hovering near her face but not quite touching. You need help, Talia. And I can give it to you. Why? The word came out broken. Why would you do that? Because you spilled coffee on me and smiled while you apologized. Because you try to make people happy even though you're drowning. Because I've been watching you for 3 months and I can't stop thinking about you. His hand finally touched her face, thumb brushing away a tear. Because you're pregnant and alone and terrified. And I have more money than I'll ever spend and more power than I know what to do with. And for the first time in my life I can use it for something that matters. Talia's breath caught. You're insane. You've said that. His thumb traced her cheekbone. But you're still here. I don't have anywhere else to go. Yes, you do. You could walk out right now. Take the money I transferred, go back to your apartment, pretend this day never happened. His eyes held hers. But you won't. 'Cause you know I'm right. You know you can't survive this alone. And you know. His voice dropped. You know I'm not going to hurt you. She did know that. Somehow, impossibly, she believed it. This is crazy, she whispered. Yes. You're a stranger. Yes. I don't even know what you do. What you're involved in that makes people want to. It's better if you don't know the details. Safer. How is that safer? Because what you don't know can't be used against you. His hand dropped from her face, but he didn't step back. All you need to know is that I have resources, connections, and a reputation that keeps most people from being stupid enough to cross me. And anyone who tries to hurt you will learn exactly why that reputation exists. A chill ran down her spine. Not fear, something else. Something that felt dangerously close to relief. I need to think, she said. Think fast. Minsuk's people know you got in my car. They know you're with me now. Which means they'll escalate. He pulled out his phone, checked something. I have a meeting in 2 hours I can't miss. My driver will stay here with you. Don't open the door for anyone. Don't go near the windows. Don't turn your phone back on. How long? Until it's safe. I don't know yet. Maybe weeks. I have to work. I have shifts, bills I can't just. Your shifts are covered. I bought your cart. She stared at him. You what? Bought it. This morning. Before the coffee incident. I was planning to give it to you as a gift. He had the decency to look slightly embarrassed. The owner thought I was crazy, but the price was right. You bought my coffee cart. And the lease for the spot. And I'm paying your replacement so your customers won't be inconvenienced. Talia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She did both. You're the most insane person I've ever met, she managed between sobs. That's also the consensus. He moved toward the door, then stopped. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I never meant to pull you into this. But now that you're here. He looked back at her. I'm going to keep you safe. UN. His eyes dropped to her stomach. Both of you. I promise. The door closed behind him. Talia sank to the floor, her back against the expensive leather couch, and finally let herself fall apart. Can't wait for the next part. Heart this if you're already obsessed. Following me means you'll know the instant I post the next chapter. And trust me, you don't want to miss what happens when Do-hyun's enemies realize she's not just another target. The driver's name was Young-soo, and he looked like he could break someone in half without breaking a sweat. He positioned himself by the door, silent and watchful, while Talia tried to process the fact that her entire life had imploded in under 4 hours. She should leave. Should walk out while Do-hyun was gone and disappear into the city. Except the city wasn't safe anymore. And she had nowhere to go. Her hand went to her stomach again. She hadn't told anyone. Not her mother, not the handful of friends she'd made in Incheon, not the father who'd ghosted her the second he'd gotten what he wanted. Just her and the doctor and the growing presence she'd been trying to ignore because acknowledging it made everything too real. But Do-hyun knew now. A stranger knew before anyone who actually mattered in her life. The thought should have terrified her. Instead she felt something like relief. Well, that was insane. She couldn't rely on some rich criminal who'd been stalking her for 3 months. She couldn't. Her new phone buzzed. Not her real phone, which was still dead in Do-hyun's pocket. This phone had appeared on the counter while she'd been crying, along with a note in perfect English. For emergencies. My number is saved as H. No one else has this number. She shouldn't pick it up. He picked it up. The text was from Dish. Young-soo will make you dinner. Eat it. I'll be back by 9 p.m. That was it. No explanation. No apology for appending her existence. Just a command to eat. Talia typed back. I want my phone back. The response came immediately. No. Why not? 'Cause they can track it. 'Cause people will call asking where you are. 'Cause I'm not risking your safety so you can check Instagram. I don't have Instagram. Then you're not missing anything. Despite everything, she almost smiled. This is kidnapping, she typed. This is protection. There's a difference. You keep saying that. Because it's true. Are you going to eat dinner? Are you going to stop being a controlling psychopath? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Eventually. Probably not soon. Eat dinner. The phone went silent. Talia stared at it for a long moment. Then looked at Young-soo. Does he always? Young-soo nodded once. Is he actually? Is this really about protection or? Another nod. Then in careful English. Boss Nim watch you long time. Very careful. Keep you safe. That's creepy. Young-soo shrugged. Boss Nim creepy sometimes. But good heart. Want help. Help by stalking. Help by protect. Young-soo moved toward the kitchen. Now I make food. You sit. He sat. Watching this massive man cook in Do-hyun's pristine kitchen was surreal. He moved with surprising grace, pulling ingredients from cabinets and the refrigerator. When had Do-hyun stocked this place? And assembling what looked like it might become kimchi jjigae. You cook for him often? Talia asked. Sometimes. Boss Nim no eat enough. Work too much. Forget food. Young-soo glanced at her. Like you. You forget food too. No good. Baby need food. Talia's throat tightened. He told you. Boss Nim tell me everything. Need know how protect you right. Young-soo stirred the pot. Baby change thing. Make you more danger. But also. He struggled for words. Make Boss Nim more. Careful. More want protect. I don't need protection. Young-soo gave her a look that said he'd heard better lies. The stew started to bubble, filling the apartment with smells that made Talia's stomach growl despite everything. She couldn't remember the last time someone had cooked for her. Couldn't remember the last time she'd felt. She couldn't let herself think that. Couldn't let herself relax into this, accept it, want it. But when Young-soo set the bowl in front of her, perfect temperature, garnished with green onions and a side of rice, she couldn't help the tears that started again. You okay? Young-soo looked concerned. I'm pregnant and homeless and being hunted by gangsters, and a man I don't know is trying to save me for reasons I don't understand. She picked up the spoon with shaking hands. I'm the opposite of okay. But you eat. Young-soo nodded approvingly. That good start. The stew was perfect. Spicy and rich and exactly what she'd needed without knowing she needed it. She finished the entire bowl and half the rice before realizing Young-soo was smiling. What? You eat like Boss Nim. Yes. Hungry. Forget to taste. His smile widened. Good match. We're not, this isn't. Boss Nim watch you 3 months. Buy you cart. Move you here. Tell everyone you off limits. That more than match. That commitment. Talia set down her spoon. He can't just. People don't just commit to strangers. Boss Nim not people. Boss Nim different. Young-soo collected her bowl. You see. You learn. I'm not staying long enough to learn anything. As soon as this is resolved, I'm. Where you go? Young-soo asked gently. What job? What money? What about baby? Every question was a knife. I'll figure it out, she said. I always do. You not always have baby. Now you do. Now you need help. He paused. Boss Nim give help. You take help. That good trade. That's not how it works. That exactly how it work. Before Talia could argue, the phone buzzed again. Did you eat? Young-soo makes better kimchi jjigae than most restaurants. Why do you care if I eat? The three dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. This time the wait was longer. Finally, because I do. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have right now. Talia stared at the screen. She should put the phone down. Should stop engaging with this whatever it was. Instead she typed, when will you be back? 9 p.m. Will you still be here? Where else would I go? I don't know. That's what terrifies me. The honesty of it hit her like a physical blow. I'm not going anywhere, she typed before she could stop herself. Promise. I don't make promises to stalkers. Fair. How about protective strangers who make you eat dinner? Still stalking. But you're smiling. She wasn't. She was. How do you know that? 'Cause I know you. You smile when you're annoyed because you think it disarms people. You smile when you're scared because you think it makes you brave. You smile when you're sad because you don't want anyone to know you're breaking. And you smile when someone makes you laugh despite yourself, which is what I'm trying to do right now because I hate that I made you cry earlier. Talia's vision blurred again. Stop knowing things about me, she typed. Can't. Already committed. You're insane. You've mentioned that. Are you going to be here when I get back? She looked around the apartment. Young-soo washing dishes like this was normal. At the window showing a city that had never been kind to her. At her hands still slightly shaking, resting on a belly that would start showing soon. She thought about her eviction notice. Her visa. Her mother's unpaid bills. The father who'd vanished. The future she couldn't see anymore because the present was too overwhelming. Yes, she typed. I'll be here. Thank you. Don't thank me. I literally have nowhere else to go. No. But you're choosing to stay anyway. That matters. The phone went quiet. Talia sat on the couch. Expensive leather that probably cost more than she'd earned in a year. And tried to understand what was happening to her life. A man she'd spilled coffee on was protecting her. Feeding her. Housing her. Knowing things about her that no one should know. Caring about things no stranger should care about. And she was letting him. The baby fluttered, or maybe she imagined it. It was too early for that, and Talia closed her eyes. Not just me anymore, she whispered. I have to think about you too. Boss Nim think about baby, Young-soo said quietly. He'd finished the dishes and was back at his post by the door. Think about you both. One keep safe. Give good life. He doesn't even know me. He know enough. Young-soo smiled. You see. When Boss Nim come back, you see. Do-hyun returned at 8:47 p.m., 13 minutes early. Talia had spent those hours exploring the apartment. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a kitchen bigger than her old place, a view that made her dizzy. Young-soo had pointed out where everything was, showed her how to work the TV she didn't watch, explained the security system she didn't understand. Mostly she'd stood at the window and watched the city lights blur through tears she couldn't explain. When the door opened, she turned. Do-hyun looked exhausted. Tie loosened, jacket gone, sleeves rolled up. There was a bruise forming on his jaw that hadn't been there this morning. What happened? The words came out before she could stop them. Meeting went poorly. He set his briefcase down. The people I was negotiating with decided to test boundaries. I clarified where those boundaries are. With your fists. With economic sanctions that will bankrupt them by Friday. The fist was just punctuation. He looked at her standing by the window. You're still here. I said I would be. People say a lot of things. He moved to the kitchen, poured himself water, drank it like a man who hadn't had time to stop all day. Thank you. For what? For staying. For trusting me even though you shouldn't. I don't trust you. He smiled slightly. Liar. Maybe she was. How? Talia hesitated. How bad is it? The danger. Bad enough that I'm sleeping here tonight. At her expression he added quickly. The guest room. I'm not, I would never. I know. And somehow she did know. This man who'd stalked her, who'd bought her coffee cart, who knew everything about her. He wouldn't hurt her. But you're not leaving. I'm not leaving you unprotected. Young-soo is excellent at his job, but he's one person. I have associates watching the building, monitoring communications, tracking Min-suk's organization. Do-hyun set down the glass. They know you're important to me now. They know I moved you here. Which means they'll try to use you to control me. Which means I'm not leaving until I know you're safe. When will that be? When they're gone. All of them. When there's no one left who thinks threatening you is a viable strategy. His jaw tightened. It shouldn't take long. There was something dark in his voice. Something that suggested take long meant something violent. What are you going to do? She asked quietly. What I should have done months ago. Remove the problem permanently. He looked at her. Does that scare you? Didn't. I don't know what I feel, Talia admitted. This morning I was worried about rent. Now I'm. She gestured helplessly. This is temporary. Once the threat is handled. Then what? I go back to my cart. Pretend this never happened. No. He said it firmly. You don't go back to anything. You move forward. To what? Whatever you want. The cafe you've been dreaming about. A place where you can actually support yourself and... His eyes dropped to her stomach. Your child. A life that doesn't require working yourself to death. You can't just give me that. Why not? Because people don't do that. I do. He moved closer. I have more money than 10 generations could spend. I have power I never wanted and influence I don't use. For the first time in my life, I can use those things for something that actually matters. Why wouldn't I? Because I'm no one. You're not no one to me. The words hung between them. Talia's breath caught. You don't even know me. I know everything I need to know. He stopped just close enough to be intimate, just far enough to be respectful. I know you're brave and kind and scared. I know you're surviving something that would break most people. I know you make terrible coffee and smile at strangers and cry when you think no one's watching. His hand came up, hovering near her face. I know that 3 months ago you changed something in me I didn't know could change. And I know. His voice dropped. I know I'll do whatever it takes to keep you safe. A tear slid down her cheek. This is insane. You keep saying that. Because it is. Maybe. His thumb brushed the tear away. But you're still here. She was. God help her, she was. I don't understand you, she whispered. You will. Eventually. If you stay long enough. How long is long enough? Forever if I have my way. He said it like it was simple. Like forever was just another Tuesday. But I'll settle for tonight. Talia couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Couldn't process the fact that this man, this stranger who knew everything about her, was offering her something she'd never dared to want. Safety. Security. Someone who cared. I should go to bed, she managed. Yes. He stepped back, giving her space. The master bedroom is yours. Everything you need is there. My assistant left clothes, they should fit. If you need anything. I know. Text it. He almost smiled. Sleep well, Talia. She made it to the bedroom before the tears started again. Talia didn't sleep. She lay in the massive bed. Sheets that felt like clouds, pillows that cost more than her monthly rent, and stared at the ceiling. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the knife flashing in sunlight. The men surrounding the car. The blood on Do-hyun's knuckles. The way he'd looked at her when he'd said, "Forever if I have my way." At 2 a.m., she gave up and went to the kitchen for water. Do-hyun was already there. He'd changed into sweatpants and a t-shirt that showed arms more muscled than his expensive suit suggested. His hair was damp from a shower. He was staring at his laptop with an intensity that made her want to retreat before he noticed. "Can't sleep?" he asked without looking up. "How did you?" "Your door opened. The security system tracks movement." Now he did look at her. "Are you okay?" "Define okay." He almost smiled. "Fair point. Water. I can get it myself." "I know. But I'm already up." He poured her a glass, handed it to her. Their fingers brushed and something electric shot through her. From his expression he felt it too. "What are you working on?" she asked, trying to distract from whatever that was. "Making people regret their life choices. The people who tried to." "Yes." He turned the laptop so she couldn't see the screen. "You don't need to know the details. If it's about me, it's about keeping you safe. That's all that matters." Talia sipped the water. It was cold, perfect, exactly what she'd needed. Course it was. "Do you always take care of people like this?" she asked. "No, never. He stopped. "Unique. Because you've been stalking me. Because you make me want to be better than I am." He said it simply like it was fact. "Because when I watch you smile at people who don't deserve it, I think maybe the world isn't completely terrible. Because..." He looked away. "Because I'm 34 years old and I've never cared about anyone the way I care about you. And I've known you for less than a day." Talia's hand tightened on the glass. "That's not normal. I'm not normal. You might have noticed. I've noticed you're insane. That's also been established." He closed his laptop. "Why can't you sleep?" "Because my entire life exploded today. Before that. You didn't sleep well before. I could see it in your face at the cart. Dark circles. That specific kind of exhaustion that comes from..." He paused. "From being alone with fear for too long." Her throat tightened. "Stop knowing things." "I can't. I already told you." He stood, moved closer. "What are you afraid of?" "Everything. Nothing. The future. The past. This moment. That I'll wake up and this will be a dream," she heard herself say. "That I'll be back in my apartment with the eviction notice and the unpaid bills and the baby I can't afford and..." Her voice cracked. "That I'll be alone again." "You won't be. You can't promise that." "I can." He was close now, too close. "I'm very good at keeping promises when they matter. Nothing matters this much." "You do." He said it with absolute conviction. "You and your baby. You matter more than anything in my life right now. I know that doesn't make sense. I know it's too fast, too intense, too insane. Yes. But it's true." His hand came up, cupped her face. "I'm not going to let you be alone. I'm not going to let you struggle. I'm not going to let anyone hurt you. Those aren't promises I make lightly." Talia's eyes burned. "Why?" "Because you spilled coffee on me and smiled while you apologized. Because you've been carrying the world on your shoulders and you're still trying to make other people happy. Because..." His thumb traced her cheekbone. "Because I see you, Talia. All of you. And I'll be damned if I let you suffer when I can help." She should pull away. Should maintain distance. Should protect herself from this whatever it was. Instead she leaned into his touch. "I'm scared," she whispered. "I know. I don't know how to trust this." "You don't have to trust it. Just let me help. Let me keep you safe until you can breathe again. And then you decide. Oh. Whatever you need." His eyes held hers. "But you'll never be alone again. I promise you that." The tears came then, and Talia couldn't stop them. Do-hyun pulled her into his arms. Careful, gentle, like she was precious, and held her while she broke. His hand stroked her hair. His heartbeat was steady against her ear. He smelled like expensive soap and something uniquely him. "I've got you," he murmured. "I've got you." And the terrifying part was, she believed him. When Talia finally pulled away, embarrassed by the wet spot her tears had left on his shirt, Do-hyun just smiled gently. "Better?" he asked. "I don't know." She wiped her face. "Maybe. That's progress." He handed her a tissue that had materialized from somewhere. "Do you think you can sleep now?" "I don't know. Would it help if I stayed? Just in the room? I'll work from the chair. You won't even know I'm there." "That's creepy." "Probably. But would it help?" "God, yes it would." "Maybe," she admitted. "Then that's what I'll do." He collected his laptop, followed her to the bedroom, settled into the chair by the window like this was normal. Like sitting up all night watching over a pregnant stranger was just another Tuesday. "Do-hyun," Talia said from the bed. "Yes. Thank you. You don't have to thank me. I do. For all of this. Even if it's insane." He looked at her in the dim light from his screen. "You're welcome. Now sleep." She did. For the first time in months, Talia slept through the night. When she woke, sunlight was streaming through the windows and Do-hyun was still in the chair, laptop open, watching over her like he'd promised. Like he'd been there all night. Like he planned to stay forever. The next 3 days passed in a strange bubble of safety Talia didn't trust. Do-hyun left for meetings, always with guards, always armed, always back before dark. Young-soo stayed with her during the day, teaching her Korean phrases while they cooked elaborate meals she'd never had time to make before. The assistant, a terrifying woman named Min-ji, brought clothes that fit perfectly, toiletries she'd needed, books she'd mentioned wanting months ago at the cart. "How does she know I wanted these?" Talia asked, holding a novel she'd once told a customer about. Young-soo just smiled. "Boss Nim remember everything." Should have been creepy. It was creepy. But it was also nice. On the third night, Do-hyun came home with blood on his shirt. "It's not mine," he said before Talia could ask. She'd been setting the table, another domestic routine that felt surreal, and froze when she saw him. "Whose is it?" "Someone who won't be a problem anymore." He disappeared into his room to change. When he came back, clean and calm, he sat at the table like nothing had happened. "Do you want to talk about it?" Talia asked. "No. Should I be scared?" He looked at her, really looked at her. "Of me? Never. Of what I do to keep you safe. That's up to you." She thought about it while they ate the bulgogi Young-soo had made. Thought about the blood. The bruises Do-hyun had accumulated over 3 days. The conversations he took in another room, speaking rapid Korean that sounded like threats. "I'm not scared," she decided. He stopped mid-bite. "You should be. Probably. But I'm not." She met his eyes. "You're violent and controlling and you've definitely killed people." "I haven't killed anyone. Yet." "Yet," he conceded. "But you're doing it for me. To protect me. To keep the baby safe." Her hand went to her stomach. 4 months now, just starting to show. "I should be terrified. Instead I just feel." "What?" "Grateful." Came out as a question. "That's insane, right?" "Probably." He set down his chopsticks. "Does it change anything? Knowing what I'm capable of?" "I don't know what you're capable of." "You can guess." She could. The blood. The bruises. The way people spoke to him on the phone. Deferential, afraid. The power he wielded like it was breathing. "It should change everything," Talia said quietly. "But it doesn't. Because you're gentle with me. Because you sat in a chair all night to make sure I could sleep. Because you bought clothes in my exact size and remembered books I mentioned once and..." Her voice cracked. "Because you're the only person who's ever fought for me this hard." Do-hyun's jaw tightened. "That's not a good reason to." "To what?" "Trust you. Rely on you." "Start to," she stopped. "Start to what?" "Feel something for you. Want this to be real. Imagine a future where you're in it." "Nothing," she said. "Never mind." But the way he looked at her suggested he knew exactly what she'd almost said. On the fourth day everything changed. Talia was alone. Young-soo had gone to pick up groceries. Do-hyun was in a meeting, when the apartment buzzer rang. She shouldn't have answered. She answered. "Package for Talia Brooks," a voice said in English. She didn't order anything. No one knew she was here except. "Who sent it?" she asked. "Doesn't say, ma'am. Just says it's urgent." Every instinct screamed danger. But pregnant brain and curiosity won. "Leave it with the front desk," she said. "It requires signature. Medical documents. Very time-sensitive. Medical. The hospital. The bills. The insurance forms she'd never finished. "I'll be right down." She shouldn't have gone down. She went down. The elevator was empty. It should have been her first clue. Do-hyun's building was always full of people. But today nothing. Just silence and the mechanical hum as she descended. The lobby was empty too. That was her second clue. The man waiting wasn't wearing a delivery uniform. He was wearing a suit. Expensive. Dark. And when he smiled, Talia's blood ran cold. "Miss Brooks." Finally. She backed toward the elevator. "Who are you?" "A friend of Mr. Kim's. He sent me to collect you." "That's not true. Do-hyun would never." "Not Kim Do-hyun." The man's smile widened. "The other Mr. Kim. The one who's very interested in meeting the woman who's so important to our mutual friend." Talia hit the elevator button frantically. It didn't respond. "We've disabled it," the man said pleasantly. "Along with the security system. It's amazing what money can buy. Even in Do-hyun's building." "He'll kill you," she said. Her voice was shaking but she meant it. "Probably. But first." He pulled out a phone. "First you're going to make a call. Tell him you left voluntarily. That you're done with his protection. That you want to go home." "No. No." The man stepped closer. "Miss Brooks, I'm trying to be civil. But if you force me to." The elevator dinged. Do-hyun emerged like violence given form. The man barely had time to turn before Do-hyun's fist connected with his face. Bone crunched. Blood sprayed. The man hit the marble floor hard enough to crack tile. "Touch her and you don't die quick," Do-hyun said quietly. "You die screaming." 3 more men materialized from the stairwell. Backup Talia hadn't seen. Do-hyun didn't even look at them. Young-soo and 2 others she didn't recognize appeared behind him, moving with coordinated precision that spoke of practice. The fight was brutal and brief. When it was over, 4 men were unconscious on the floor and Do-hyun had more blood on his suit. "Are you hurt?" he asked Talia. She shook her head, unable to speak. "Did he touch you?" Another head shake. "Did he threaten you?" "He wanted me to call you," she managed. "To say I left." 2. Do-hyun's expression went dark. "Young-soo, take her upstairs. I'll handle this." "Do-hyun. Upstairs. Now." The command in his voice left no room for argument. Young-soo led her to the elevator, now working, and they rode up in silence. When they reached the apartment, Talia collapsed on the couch, shaking so hard she could barely breathe. "Almost okay," Young-soo said gently. "Boss Nim handle. You safe now." But she wasn't safe. She'd never be safe. These people, whoever they were, had gotten into Do-hyun's building, had bypassed his security, had reached her. The baby fluttered, definitely fluttering now, not her imagination, and Talia wrapped her arms around her stomach protectively. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." Do-hyun returned an hour later. The blood was gone. He'd showered and changed somewhere, but the fury in his eyes was still there. "They're gone," he said. "All of them. It won't happen again." "You can't promise that." "I can." He sat beside her, careful not to crowd. "I've escalated this. Called in favors I've been saving. By tomorrow morning, the organization targeting you won't exist anymore." Talia stared at him. "What does that mean?" "It means I'm burning everything they built to the ground. Their businesses, their connections, their protection. By the time I'm done, They'll wish they'd never heard your name. People will die. Yes. Because of me. Because they threatened you. Because they came into my home and tried to take what's mine. His hand covered hers. This isn't your fault. How is it not? If I hadn't been here, then you'd be alone and vulnerable and they'd still be hunting you. At least this way you're protected. Protected. She laughed, slightly hysterical. They got into your building. They got to me. How is that protected? It won't happen again. You keep saying that. Because it's true. His voice rose for the first time. I was complacent. I thought the building security was enough. I was wrong. It's handled now. How? 24-hour personal security. Rotation of guards. Biometric locks on the elevator. Surveillance on every floor. His jaw tightened. And I'm not leaving you alone again. Not until this is finished. You can't, you have work. My work is keeping you safe. Everything else is secondary. Talia pulled her hand away. This is insane. You keep. I know I keep saying it. But it's true. She stood pacing. You can't rearrange your entire life for someone you barely know. I can do whatever I want. He stood too. And I choose you. Why? The question burst out of her. Why me? I'm nothing. I'm a broke barista with a baby I can't afford and a visa about to expire and you're not nothing. He crossed the distance between them. You're brave and kind and you've survived things that would destroy most people. You make terrible coffee and smile at strangers and you cry when you think no one's watching. You're carrying a child you're terrified of, but you're going to love it anyway. His hands framed her face. You're everything. The tears started again. I'm scared. I know. I don't know how to do this. You don't have to know. Just let me help. Let me keep you safe. And then we figure it out. Together. His forehead touched hers. I'm not going anywhere, Talia. Not until you tell me to. And maybe not even then. She should tell him to leave. Should push him away. Should protect herself from the inevitable moment when he realized she wasn't worth this. Instead she kissed him. It wasn't planned. Wasn't smart. Wasn't anything except desperate and grateful and terrified. He froze for half a second. Then his arms came around her, careful of her belly, holding her like she was precious. The kiss deepened, gentle but intense, a promise wrapped in contact. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Do-hyun rested his forehead against hers. That complicate things. Talia whispered. Probably. He smiled slightly. I don't care. Me neither. Good. He kissed her again, softer this time. Because I've wanted to do that since the moment you spilled coffee on me. Despite everything, Talia laughed. That's a weird way to start a relationship. We're a weird relationship. Are we? Is that what this is? Do you want it to be? God, yes. Maybe, she said. I'll take maybe. He pulled her close, careful of the baby. For now. They stood like that, wrapped around each other in the apartment that had become a sanctuary, while the city lit up outside and danger circled and the future remained uncertain. But for the first time in months, Talia wasn't alone. And that was enough. The next week was war. Talia watched from the apartment as Do-hyun systematically dismantled an entire criminal organization. He did it from his laptop, from phone calls, from meetings with men who looked like they could kill with their hands tied. Another one down, he'd say casually, like he was talking about closing a business deal instead of destroying someone's life. Should I ask? No. But she asked anyway. What happens to them? The people you're ruining. Do-hyun didn't look up from his screen. They lose their businesses, their connections, their protection. Some will go to prison. Some will flee the country. Some will be smart enough to know they lost and start over somewhere else. And if they're not smart, now he looked at her, then they learn why it was a mistake to threaten you. The cold certainty in his voice should have scared her. Didn't. You're enjoying this, Talia said. I'm protecting you. There's a difference. Is there? He closed his laptop. Yes, I don't enjoy violence. I don't enjoy destruction. But I'm very good at both when necessary. And this is necessary. They came into my home and tried to take you. Yes, Talia. This is necessary. She believed him. On day 8 someone new appeared. Minji, the terrifying assistant, knocked on the door during breakfast. Sir, we have a problem. Do-hyun's expression didn't change. What kind? The woman from Atlanta. She's here. Talia's stomach dropped. My mother. No. Minji looked uncomfortable. You're the father. He's in the lobby. The world tilted. Impossible, Talia managed. He doesn't know I'm here. He doesn't even know about. He knows. Minji pulled out her tablet, showed security footage. A man Talia hadn't seen in 4 months stood in the lobby, looking angry and entitled. He's demanding to see you. Says you owe him money. Money. Talia's voice rose. I don't owe him anything. Apparently he claims otherwise. Minji looked at Do-hyun. Should I have security remove him? No. Talia stood, hands shaking. I'll handle this. You're not going down there, Do-hyun said immediately. He's the father of my baby. I have to. You don't have to do anything. Do-hyun's voice was steel. Especially not face a man who abandoned you when you needed him most. How do you know he abandoned me? Because you're here. Because you never mentioned him. Because when you talk about the baby you say me, and I, never we or us. Do-hyun's eyes held hers. Because you flinch when I get too close too fast, which means he hurt you. And because I checked. The second I found out you were pregnant, I found out everything about him. Of course he did. What did you find? Her voice was small. That he's married. That his wife is pregnant too. Due 3 weeks before you. That he's a mid-level finance consultant who thinks he's more important than he is. That he's been tracking your social media and your mother's Facebook trying to find you. Do-hyun's jaw tightened. That he's a coward who panicked when you told him about the baby and blocked your number. Every word was a knife. How did he find me? Talia whispered. One of Min-suk's people must have sold the information before we shut them down. He probably paid well for it. Do-hyun stood. But he's not getting near you. He has a right. He has no rights. He gave those up when he abandoned you. Do-hyun moved to the door. Stay here. I'll handle this. Do-hyun, don't hurt him. He paused. Why not? Because he's the baby's father. No matter what else he is, he's nothing. He's nothing to you or that child. Do-hyun's voice was cold. But I won't hurt him. I'll just make it very clear that his presence here isn't welcome. He left before Talia could argue. She watched from the security feed. Minji left, pulled up on the tablet. Do-hyun approached the man. Marcus, his name was Marcus, with the casual confidence of someone who owned everything he surveyed. You need to leave, Do-hyun said. His English was perfect, barely accented. I'm not leaving until I see Talia. Marcus looked nervous but stubborn. She's carrying my child. I have a right. You have no rights. I'm the father. You're a sperm donor. There's a difference. Do-hyun stepped closer. You're married. Your wife is pregnant. You want nothing to do with this child. So why are you here? Marcus' face reddened. That's none of your business. Everything about Talia is my business. Who the hell are you? The man protecting her from people like you. Do-hyun pulled out his phone, showed Marcus something Talia couldn't see. I know about your finances. The debt you're hiding from your wife. The second job you're trying to get. The lawyer you consulted about child support. Marcus went pale. How? I know everything. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign away all parental rights. You're going to leave Talia alone. And in exchange, I won't tell your wife about the affair, the pregnancy, or the fact that you're meeting with divorce lawyers. That's blackmail. That's a deal. Take it or leave it. I want to see her. No. You can't. Do-hyun leaned in, said something too quiet for the security feed to pick up. Marcus stumbled backward, actually stumbled, and hurried out of the lobby like he was running from death itself. When Do-hyun returned to the apartment, Talia was waiting. What did you say to him? She asked. That if he ever contacted you again, I'd make sure his wife learned everything. That I'd ruin him financially. That I'd use every resource at my disposal to ensure he lost everything he cared about. Do-hyun set his phone down. And that if he ever tried to claim rights to your child, I'd prove in court that he's an unfit father before he even got visitation. You can't. I can. I have 5 lawyers on retainer who could destroy him. I have enough evidence of his affairs and financial misdeeds to bury him. Do-hyun's eyes were cold. He's not a threat anymore. Talia sank onto the couch. He's the baby's father. Biologically. Not in any way that matters. What if the baby wants to know him someday? Then we'll revisit this. When your child is old enough to make that choice. Do-hyun sat beside her. But until then, he doesn't get to waltz in demanding rights he abandoned. He doesn't get to disrupt your life because he feels guilty or scared or whatever motivated this. You're very sure. I'm very protective. His hand found hers. He hurt you. He left you alone. He doesn't get another chance to do either. Talia squeezed his fingers. What did I do to deserve you? Spilled coffee on me and smiled. He kissed her knuckles. Best disaster of my life. Despite everything, she laughed. The baby kicked. Definitely kicked this time, hard enough that Do-hyun felt it against his hand. They both froze. Was that? He started. Yeah. Talia's hand covered his. That was the baby. Do-hyun's expression went soft in a way she'd never seen. Can I? You already are. He shifted closer, both hands on her growing belly now. The baby kicked again like it knew someone was paying attention. Hello in there, Do-hyun said quietly. He paused. I'm the person keeping your mom safe. And I promise you're both going to have everything you need. I promise you'll never doubt you're wanted. I promise. His voice cracked. Talia's heart cracked with it. You don't have to promise anything, she whispered. Yes, I do. He looked at her and his eyes were bright. Because I love you. Both of you. And I know that's insane and too fast and impossible, but it's true. Talia couldn't breathe. Do-hyun. You don't have to say it back. I know it's too soon. I know you're still processing everything. But I need you to know. He cupped her face. I'm not going anywhere. I'm in this. Completely. For as long as you'll have me. She should be cautious. Should protect herself. Should remember that this was temporary. That real life would intrude eventually. That men like Do-hyun didn't really stay with women like her. Instead she kissed him. I love you too, she whispered against his mouth. I think I started loving you when you sat in that chair all night so I could sleep. That's a low bar for love. It's my bar. And you're so far above it I can't even. She kissed him again. I love you. Say it again. I love you. Again. I love you, you controlling, stalking, insanely protective. He kissed her breathless. When they finally broke apart, both of them were crying. This is insane, Talia managed. You keep saying that. It's true every time. I know. Do-hyun rested his forehead against hers, one hand still on her belly where the baby was doing what felt like somersaults. But I don't care. Me neither. And for the first time in her life, Talia believed in the future. 3 weeks later, Talia's visa expired. She'd been so caught up in safety and Do-hyun and the baby and learning to trust that she'd forgotten. Or maybe she'd hoped the problem would disappear if she ignored it. Didn't. I have 48 hours to leave the country, she told Do-hyun over breakfast. The email from immigration had come while he was showering. After that I'm here illegally. He didn't even look concerned. That's handled. Handled how? I made some calls. Your work visa has been extended 18 months. You can't just. I have friends in immigration. They owed me favors. He sipped his coffee. It's handled. Do-hyun, that's keeping you safe. Which is what I promised. He set down his cup. Unless you want to go back to Atlanta. Did she? A month ago the answer would have been yes. Atlanta meant her mother, her old friends, a place where she understood the language and the culture and could survive without depending on anyone. But Atlanta meant going back to nothing. No job, no money, living with her mother in a nursing home while pregnant and alone. Here she had everything. I want to stay, she admitted quietly. Do-hyun's relief was visible. Good. Because I wasn't letting you leave anyway. That's kidnapping. That's love. He moved around the table, pulled her into his arms. You're staying. The visa is handled. The next crisis is solved. There's always another crisis. Then we'll solve that one too. He kissed her forehead. Together. The call came at 3 a.m. Talia woke to Do-hyun's phone buzzing insistently. Him answering in rapid Korean that sounded sharp and dangerous. What's wrong? She asked when he hung up. They found you. Her blood went cold. Who? The last ones. The people who hired Min-suk, who've been trying to get to me through you. He was already moving, getting dressed. They know you're here. They're coming. Now. Now. He grabbed his jacket, pulled on shoes. Young-soo and the team are outside. We're moving you to a safe house. Do-hyun. No arguments. Get dressed. We have 10 minutes. She'd never seen him scared before. Angry, yes. Protective, always. But scared. Never. Till now. Talia dressed fast. Jeans, sweater, sneakers. Her hands shook as she pulled on the jacket Do-hyun had bought her, as she grabbed her phone as she. The baby book, she said. The photo album your assistant made for me, I need. I'll get it. He disappeared into the bedroom, returned with the book she'd been filling with ultrasound pictures and notes. Anything else? No. Just. She gripped his hand. Just you. Something in his expression cracked. Always, he promised. They were in the elevator when the building's power failed. Emergency lights kicked on, bathing everything in red. The elevator stopped between floors. Backup generator should. Do-hyun's phone lit up with messages. His face went dark. They cut the backup too. What do we do? He was already prying open the elevator panel, reaching for manual override. We get you out. Do-hyun. Trust me. She did. The elevator doors opened manually, revealing the floor between 30 and 31. Dark. Me. Silent except for distant shouting from the stairwells. They're coming up, Do-hyun said quietly. Young-soo and the team will hold them as long as they can, but I need to get you out first. He pulled her into the emergency stairwell, started descending. Stay behind me. Don't stop moving. Don't look back. They made it 5 floors before meeting the first threat. 3 men blocking the stairwell. Armed. Professional. Do-hyun didn't hesitate. The fight was brutal. He moved like violence was a language he spoke fluently. Calculated, efficient, devastating. One man went down with a broken knee. Another with his head bounced off concrete. The third pulled a gun. Talia screamed. Do-hyun disarmed him before he could fire, the gun clattering down the stairs. Another strike, and the man was unconscious. Move, Do-hyun ordered. They moved. More floors. More stairs. More men, Young-soo and the team fighting on other levels, buying them time. Talia's breath came in gasps. The baby was pressing on her lungs, making it hard to run. Her legs shook. Her vision blurred. I can't, she managed. Yes, you can. Do-hyun's arm came around her waist, supporting her. Almost there. Floor 10. The lobby doors burst open and more men poured in. But these men wore police uniforms. Down. Everyone down. The men chasing them scattered. Gunfire echoed in the stairwell. Deafening, terrifying. Do-hyun shielded her with his body, moving them behind cover. Friends! Talia gasped. Mine, Do-hyun confirmed. I called them an hour ago. Took them too long to arrive. An hour. You knew this was coming. I suspected. I've been tracking their movements for days. He pulled her toward a back exit as the police swarmed. I was hoping to handle it before they reached you. They burst into an alley where a car waited. Not Do-hyun's usual driver, someone new. Get in, the new driver said in English. We need to move. Talia collapsed into the back seat. Do-hyun slid in beside her, already on his phone coordinating something in Korean. Where are we going? She asked. Somewhere they can't find you. Where can't they find me? They found your building. They got past your security. Because I let them. At her shocked expression he added, I needed them all in one place. Needed them to commit, make their move. Now I have proof of everything, the break-in, the attack, the weapons. The police will handle them from here. You used yourself as bait. I used us as bait. He pulled her close. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I put you through that. But it's done now. They're done. It's over. Talia's hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold on to him. The adrenaline crash was hitting, leaving her dizzy and nauseous and terrified. The baby, she managed. I think something's wrong. Do-hyun barked orders to the driver in Korean. The car accelerated. Hospital, he told Talia. We're going to the hospital. You're both going to be fine. Promise. I promise. He held her tighter. I promise. The baby was fine. Talia was fine. The checkup at the hospital. Do-hyun had them seen immediately, private room, best doctors, confirmed everything was normal. Just stress. Just adrenaline. Just the terror of running for her life while 5 months pregnant. But we're okay. Talia asked the doctor for the 5th time. You're okay, the doctor confirmed in careful English. Baby is strong. Heartbeat good. You just need rest. Rest. But because rest was so easy after being hunted through a building. Do-hyun held her hand through the entire exam, never leaving, never wavering. When they were finally alone in the private room, Talia fell apart. I can't do this, she sobbed. I can't keep running. I can't keep being afraid. The baby needs stability and safety and you have it. Do-hyun knelt beside the bed. It's done, Talia. The threat is eliminated. Every single person who tried to hurt you is in police custody. They're finished. But what about next time? You guessed correctly. There won't be a next time. I'm done with this world. I'm out. She stared at him. What? I'm out. As of tonight, I'm severing all connections to the organizations I've worked with. I'm liquidating the questionable businesses, transferring the legitimate ones to management, walking away. You can't just. I can. I have enough money to retire 10 times over. I have enough legitimate investments to support us forever. I don't need the danger anymore. His hands framed her face. I never needed it. I just didn't have a reason to leave. Until you. Do-hyun. I'm choosing you. I'm choosing this baby. I'm choosing a life where you don't have to run, where you're safe, where our child grows up without fear. His thumbs brushed away her tears. I'm choosing us. What will you do? Whatever you want. Open that cafe you've been dreaming about. Run it together. Live quietly. Raise our child. He smiled slightly. Make terrible coffee and be happy. Our child. The words caught. If you'll let me. If you'll. He swallowed hard. Marry me. The world stopped. What? Marry me. Not because of the visa. Not because you need protection. But because I love you. Because I want to raise this baby with you. Because I can't imagine my life without you in it. He pulled out a ring. When had he gotten a ring? And held it like an offering. Marry me, Talia. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. couldn't process. We've known each other a month, she managed. I've known you for 4 months. And I've been sure since the day you spilled coffee on me and smiled while you apologized. That's insane. So you keep saying. He was smiling now, hopeful and terrified and perfect. But you love me anyway. She did. God, she did. Yes, Talia whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. Do-hyun surged forward, kissing her like she was air and he'd been drowning. When they broke apart, he was crying. I'll be good to you, he promised. I'll keep you safe. I'll love you both so much. I know. She cupped his face. I know you will. He slipped the ring on her finger. Perfect fit, of course it was, and held her hand like it was precious. I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret this, he said. I won't regret it. Talia pulled him closer. I've never been more sure of anything. The cafe opened on a bright spring morning. The coffee collision was written in both English and Korean above the door. Talia's idea, Do-hyun's execution. The interior was warm and welcoming, decorated with photos from Korea and Atlanta, bridging 2 worlds. The coffee was still terrible. You have to let me hire a real barista, Do-hyun said, watching Talia attempt a latte. This is my terrible coffee, and my customers love it. She smiled at the regular who'd just ordered, Mrs. Kim from their building, who'd become a grandmother figure. Right, Mrs. Kim. It's unique, Mrs. Kim said diplomatically. Do-hyun laughed, kissed his wife's temple, moved his hand to her belly where their daughter was doing gymnastics. 7 months pregnant now. Due in 2 months. And terrifyingly, wonderfully, perfectly wanted. She's kicking, he said with wonder. It never got old. She knows her daddy's here. Talia leaned into him. She loves you already. Not as much as I love her. Not as much as I love you. The bell above the door chimed. Another customer. Then another. The cafe filled with people. Some coming for coffee. Some coming because they'd heard the story of the barista who'd spilled her way into love. We did it, Talia said quietly. You did it. I just helped. You did more than help. She turned to kiss him properly. You saved me. We saved each other. Do-hyun's hand covered hers on her belly. And now we're building something better. Outside, Incheon rushed past. Inside, their future unfolded. And the coffee was still terrible, but the love was perfect. Thank you for reading. If you loved this story, please follow me for more addictive romance. Drop a like if you think Do-hyun is the ultimate book boyfriend, and comment more if you want to see bonus scenes from their future. Proposal scene, wedding day, baby's arrival. Your support means everything.